Hey gamers, Melko6925 here, bringing you another episode, and today we're going to cover again Clash Royale. So guys, what am I going to do for you today? Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to have a look at all the cars that you can attain from the training arena, and we're just going to have a bit of a chat really and tell you how I would use them and how important I think they are to the game and to your deck. So, in the training camp, there is 4, 8, 12 cards that you are unlocked straight away. Obviously, you're not going to get all the cards straight away, but obviously you will be able to get them at some point, at any point in the game, because you can get them from the training camp. Now, there is 4 commons, 4 epics, and 4 rares as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through these 8 cards and discuss how and what they should be used for. The next video is going to cover the Goblin Stadium and the 6 cards there. Then we're going to have a look at the Bone Pit in the next episode, followed by the cards from the Barbarian Bowl, Pekka's Playhouse, Spell Valley, and Builder's Workshop. When I get back up to Royal Arena as well, we will be covering off those cards. And when I get to Legendary Arena, luckily at this moment in time, there's no cards there. Doesn't mean they're not going to be adding cards for that shortly. So, all the way back down to the cards that you can get from the very start of the game. The first card we're going to have a look at is the arrows. Arrows pepper a large area, damaging everyone hit, reduces damage to crown towers. Now, the arrows is a very valuable card which I run in nearly all of my decks. It's an AoE card, so it can damage an area as well, so it's not just damaging one individual troop. This card is fantastic at 3 elixir for taking out large groups of minions, skeletons, so it's fantastic counter to the skeleton horde, it's fantastic counter to goblins and things like that. I always keep this card in my deck near enough at all times because the amount of cards it can physically take out. A well-placed arrow can take out 10 elixirs with the troops, low-level troops especially. So I find that the level 1 arrows, or arrows just in general, are fantastic to keep in that deck. It is a common, it is a spell, and it's a fantastic card. That takes me over to the bomber. Another common card, a troop, small, lightly protected skeleton that throws bombs, deals area damage that can wipe out swarms of enemies. Again, another troop that, or this time a troop that can damage a complete area. So something like this again is fantastic at taking out taking out skeleton hordes, taking out the bombers, doing significant damage to things like barbarian hordes or barbarians and things like that. It's a fantastic troop, especially if you put it behind something. So say if you have a giant up front, stick the bomber behind. All those troops come in to obviously pepper that giant. He just sits behind, throwing bombs over his head and doing significant amounts of damage to a large portion of troops in any one game. This is a very good card in the early levels. It's not a card that I've played in a while because I tend to use the wizard now. At the level I'm at, I find obviously it's a bit more versatile with the fact that it can target more air troops. But at the low levels, everywhere up to at least 1,000, 1,200 trophies, it's a fantastic card to have in your deck and is very good, especially like I said, if you get it behind something that's got a bit of HP, so a knight, a giant, something like that. Next is the archers, a pair of unarmed range attackers. They'll help you with ground and air unit attacks, but you're on your own with colouring your hair. You've got to love them, haven't you? Cost 3 elixir. Again, not very useful on their own. They can target all troops. Obviously, it's a ranged attack as well. Something like this as well can be used on offense and defense. If you're using it on defense, they can pepper any troops coming in. If it's on offense, again, you want to have them behind a much stronger opponent, a much stronger troop. So behind your giant, behind your knight, something like that. So let them soak up the damage and obviously use your archers to obviously pepper them. Personally, I prefer using spear goblins over archers just because they're slightly cheaper and you get an extra goblin even though they do less damage. But that's just preference. Everyone's got their own opinion. Archers can use everywhere throughout the game. You'll see them in many decks. Next is the Knight. This is a fantastic card at low levels. It's got a lot of HP with 600 HP. It deals a lot of damage. So it's quite versatile as well at only 3 elixir. It can be good on defense to take out giants, to take out knights, things like that. It's fantastic. Stick it on a bomber, goes down in seconds. So it's very good on defense. Again, it's also very good on offense due to the amount of damage that it can output. And at a cost of only 3 elixir, it can also be used as a distraction troop as well. At low levels especially, the knight is very versatile. And at the low levels, that's what you want out of a card. You want versatility. You don't want to be stuck with only one style of play, because you need to know how to counter other decks as well. Next is the Fireball. Oh, baby. Fireball, similar to the arrows, is a good card. It does area damage as well, so it can hit a large portion of troops. The problem with this is that its radius is actually smaller than the arrows. It does deal more direct damage, but it does cost 1 elixir more. So with the arrows, you're getting a larger spread with slightly less damage and slightly less elixir cost. The Fireball, slightly higher elixir cost, slightly radius of damage, but does more damage. So it's very good at taking out barbarians, knights, things along them lines, things that have got a bit more HP. You can also use it against your goblins and things like that, and it can also target air defences, air troops as well, so it does come in handy for that as well. But personally, I always like to stick with arrows, just because I feel they're a bit more versatile at this level. Next up is the Mini Pekka in sheer beauty. The Arena is certified butterfly free zone. No distractions for the Pekka, only destruction. Look at that damage. 180 DPS with a damage of 325, hitting at every 1.8 seconds. That's a level 1 Mini Pekka. You get that Pekka onto a tower, and that tower is going to go down fast. Something like the Pekka, though, it is only got low HP for its cost, so you need to get it well protected. Maybe stick it in the middle of a horde of troops, skeleton horde, so stick your skeleton horde down, stick that Mini Pekka in the middle, so it's harder for other troops to physically target it. Again, this is a fantastic troop on defense for taking out things like giants and things like that, because it's got such high damage. It can take troops down very easily. Like I said, the big problem with this troop is that it's easily countered because it's just one individual troop, and unfortunately its hit points are rather low as well, so it can be taken out relatively quickly, so it can be easily distracted. But if you can get a Pekka onto a tower, you are laughing, my friend. Next, probably my favourite card of all at this moment in time, is the level 1 Musketeer. She deals a high amount of damage. Now, don't get me wrong, she does have low HP. But the thing is about the Musketeer is that she packs a hell of a lot of damage, and she does damage from a distance. With a range of 6.5, stick her behind a giant, stick her behind a knight, and just watch her pile through all those troops. They won't stand a chance against that little lady's musket. Again, stick her on defense. She's great against taking out the dragons, balloons, you name it, she can take it out. Minion hordes especially, things like that, she's really good at taking out. Both offense and defense, the Musketeer is a must, and is a card I have in near enough all of my decks up to present. Then we've got the big guy, the level giant himself. He's slow, he's durable, but we love him. But a cost of 5 elixir, you've got to make sure you're playing him right. He's a bumbling old slow and sod, but if you get him up front with a couple of troops behind to take out the troops that are attacking him, once he gets to that crown tower or that tower, he can deal some decent damage. He's basically there to soak up damage and firepower from other troops. A brilliant card, as long as if you get some troops behind him to support him. No good on defense, because he doesn't target troops, he'll go straight for the tower, so just remember that. But overall, you get that guy up front with a couple of troops behind, you're laughing. Next, we have the Prince. Oh, the Prince. Now, that's an elixir cost of 5, and it's our first epic card. But with 1100 HP and a damage of 220, you are in for a treat. Now, just to let you know as well, a charging Prince deals double damage on his first hit. So if you can get a Prince to charge a tower, that's 440 damage in the first hit. Wow. Now, unfortunately, the Prince is easily distracted. It's useless on defense as well, and it's got a high elixir cost. But if you can get a Prince onto a tower, that tower's going to go down in seconds. It's as simple as that. I still have a Prince in my deck to this day. I've had the Prince in my deck since near enough day 1. It is going to get distracted quite easily, and sometimes it may cost you because of that. But if you can get that prince down that lane and into that tower, then you're on to a winner, my friends. I think the prince is one of the strongest cards in the game, and I advise everyone to try and get it as soon as possible. Another card I have in most of my decks is the baby dragon. It's a flying troop which comes in handy. It's fantastic at taking out things like minion hordes, taking out goblins, things like that. It's also because it does area damage as well, and it also fires from a distance. So you've got an area damage flying troop that can deal damage from a distance. What else could you want in a troop? Also, it's got reasonably good HP. So if you can stick a dragon up front or a baby dragon up front, maybe get a musketeer behind it or a couple of archers, something like that. It can deal a lot of damage. It's fantastic at taking out archers and goblins and things like that that are going to be there to distract you, other troops, such as your musketeer. Get the dragon down, get troops behind it. Again, it's good on defense. It can soak up a lot of damage. It can take out those goblins, minions, etc. So, my advice, get that baby dragon in your deck as soon as possible. The next epic that we've got is the Skeleton Army. Drop the Skeleton Army down, costs 4 elixir. Now this is good on defense, it's good for distraction on offense. So say you need to take down, say, something like a prince in quick order, surround it by a Skeleton Army and let them go to town. They only deal a small amount of damage, but when you're dropping 20 skeletons with 20 damage, that damage is going to add up quick. It's great for taking things down. Princes, Pekkas, barbarians, taking out witches, things like that. Unfortunately, it is weak against things like bombers, dragons, things that do area damage. But use it at the right time. It's not necessarily the best on offense, but on defense and as distractions and potentially protecting things like the Pekka, sticking a Pekka down in the middle as they're all going up the lane. It's a fantastic card to have in your deck. Finally, guys, the last card that you can get from the training camp is the Witch. This little lady has got 500 HP and only does 36 damage and costs 5 elixir. On face value, that's not very good. But what the Witch does do is she releases skeletons. So every 7.5 seconds, what she'll do, she'll release 3 skeletons to run out in front of her. Obviously, them skeletons do their own damage as well. Plus, they're also good at distracting the opponent's troops, so they're not targeting the witch. They're not targeting your other troops as well, because you've got these skeletons ploughing up the front. Unfortunately, like I said, it is a good troop. A lot of people do use it, and it's used at all levels of gameplay. For me, it's probably my least favourite card at this level. It's not a card I enjoy. Doesn't mean it's a bad card. It just means that I personally, with the strategies I tend to use, I struggle using the Witch. I just don't enjoy it for some strange reason. So guys, that's it from me. That's the training camp cards, all 12 of them. Just so you can have a look at my current deck. This is the current deck that I use. Obviously, there's a few cards in there that I already discussed that you get right off the bat. So you've got your Musketeer, you've got your arrows, you've got your baby dragon, and you've got your prince. Now, in the next level, you'll be able to access goblins, which we'll show you coming up. And the other cards I like to use this minute is the Minion Horde and the Hog Rider. Following that up with a few barbarians who like to pack a big punch as well. So guys, that's it from me. Thank you all for tuning in. If you like what you see, comment below, let me know. If you've not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I will see you gamers next time. Take care.